Okay, so Gary called me up and said, hey, I was told by Ohlins to come see you. So we got him the HD 159s in the back, which they perfect shock for the rear. On the front here, Ohlins recommends the FKC 102. FKC 102 is made for the touring model, but I had an idea about putting Nix 22s in the front, which have full adjustment on rebound and compression, as well as preload. So I actually put a 2-inch longer fork tube in the front, and I put a Nix 22 cartridge kit in the front, and the ride quality is 1,000%. 1,000%, that's all I can say. Here's the customer here, Gary. Gary, you bought your bike in this morning, it was stock. It handled like a bucket of shit, right?
Yes.
And how does it ride now that you just rode it?
Well, I've been riding Ducatis my whole life, but I wanted something for touring, and I got rid of a BMW. But this, the cornering, I'm taking 25-mile-an-hour corners at 80 to 100, and then just turning around the parking lot, it's 50% shorter. And the biggest problem I had with this is my lower back. And even my Ducati doesn't give me the pain this did, and I'm hitting railroad tracks and everything else on this, and the rebound is so fast.
What would you compare the handling of this motorcycle to? Any other motorcycle you've ever ridden?
I would say it's almost like a Ducati touring bike. It's like not as quick as my 1198, but once you get up above 20 miles an hour, you don't even feel the weight of the front end. I mean, it's just like a sport bike where you just think next lane and you're there.
Yeah. Cool shit, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing that's, and the ride height, I can see, I'm 6 foot, so I have no problem. I actually like it higher, but a shorter rider might want something a little bit lower in the front. But before I could see over the windshield, now I'm looking through it. Now I got an excuse to get rid of my windshield.
Yeah, actually, if we lower this windshield, it'll actually add stability. But this is pretty damn good. I took it up to 110. I ripped it into a corner at 90, like a ramp, off ramp onto the 210, and that thing just didn't budge. It was on rails. Boom. It actually handles almost as good as my inverted frame.
Well, the thing is it's not really that expensive. I mean, it was, I think, $1,700 for the parts.
Yeah.
And that's nothing to get.
The ride quality this has is for $1,700 is incredible amount of value for your money.
Yeah, because I mean, just a set of Ohlins for a normal bike is $4,000.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, those HD 159s and a set of Nix 22s, those FKC 102s, those things are really soft. And the reason they made them that way because Ohlins went and tested with a bunch of guys, and they said, oh no, it needs to be softer because they don't understand firmness in valving and what it does for you at high speeds. So they kept saying softer, 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 so Ohlins just gave them what they wanted. But they didn't know what they wanted because they didn't even know what it's supposed to really feel like to be a very stable, compliant bike. This is stable and compliant, but it feels firm, but it's incredibly stable and compliant. And that's the difference.
But the ride's not firm, the ride is smooth.
The ride is smooth when you see a big bump, but to the guy that doesn't know any different, he thinks it's like stiff when it's not. It's actually firm. But you hit a big pothole, it's going to absorb it, whereas on the stock suspension, it feels like it's riding down the road nice and soft, but when you hit a bump, it turns your asshole into a turtleneck. Because it hits you so hard because there's no valving. There's nothing to slow it down, it just comes up and hits you.
Yeah, well, I went over the railroad tracks by doing 60, and I just
it absorbed it.
Like, did it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Where before,
that's exactly what it's supposed to do.
Like on my other Harley, I would have had to slow down to 20.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Pretty incredible, huh?
Oh, it's marvelous. Did a good job, man.
Thanks, dude. So, at the end of the day, this is what we did. We put HD 159s on there. We checked the sag rate for Gary. Gary installed them actually himself. We took the front forks off. We put on some longer tubes. We put in a Nix 22 cartridge kit. Set the sag rate. We put some 12 Newton meter springs in to hold up this front end to get our sag rate correct. And this bike is riding amazing. It's got stock triple trees in it, and it rides beautiful, like beautiful. I wouldn't be afraid to do 150 miles an hour on this bike at all, if it had the motor to do it, at all. I had it pinned as fast as this thing would go. It's got a bone stock motor, I could get 110 out of it. That's as fast as this thing would go. But I know if we put a cams and a 2-into-1 on it and got rid of these duals, would actually be able to pull 145, 150 out of it on a downstroke. That thing would rock. It's pretty badass.